Okay, great. So I'll try to keep it in 10 minutes and share the time with my colleague, Dr. Anand out there. He has kindly volunteered. This problem actually arose during a visit to Bali. This is last year. I'll describe the problem and what we're doing to build solutions towards that. The farm you see here is in Bali. This is Kotagiri, and I'm taking quite a bit of guidance on the farming part of it from TNAU through the many big extension networks that Dr. Anand Raja, you just heard him, he has established out here. Okay, the problem is as follows. So, Bali problem. The farmer told me he can sell about 3 times more than what he's actually selling. However, he's 72. It's not a cool profession to be a farmer. His children don't want to get trained in this. Now, strawberry during rainy season, you have to do once in 2 days or once in 3 day checks. That's your early warning system. Okay. The method to do that, these plantations are quite low. You have a bed height of about a feet or so, and about 6 inches of plants, that's it. The things when you look from early warning perspective is you need a magnifying glass. So he squats in there, checks the thing, moves on, squats, keeps doing that. And he can cover only a very limited area. Okay. So that is one of the problems. Secondly, he says he can increase his output in terms of value by about 200 to 300%. Now that may depend upon the market linkages you have, but in Bali he could easily do that. Okay, provided he brings down his pesticide residue below a certain level. Okay, so they're not into 100% organic certification, but below a certain level. Okay, but he can't do that. The reason is when he sprays the things, he's spraying from waist height. Okay, so he's spraying not only on this, on the beads, on everything, whatever you see out here he's spraying on, right? So his pesticide cost is also quite high as well. Can be brought down by about 80%, 90% or so, simply by using less pesticides. So now the thing is, you can't use a drone to actually fly through and get the capture, because you're looking at really microscopic, you need magnifying glasses, so it's not that small, but really small. You have motion blur to take care of, and your vibration blurs. You won't be able to do it with a drone unless you're buying a very expensive camera, which will work very well in scientific papers, wouldn't get to the ground ever in this part of the world. Okay. So the solution is build a ground robo. I'll just come to this in a moment. So we're in the stage right now, 3D modeling of this. So there's a lot of, so it's about a 3.5 year project to try to get to the farm. And what Dr. Anand Raja showed in the pyramid at the bottom, doing and believing and saying, that's what we are heading at. We hope some publications will be a byproduct, but that's not what we're talking here, right? So we're doing a mechanical design. We have evaluated plenty of them. We have made actually 3D models, and again, so this is the same company that makes Rafale jets, Dassault Aviation. So 3D SolidWorks is from them, and we're using that to do this. We're in various stages here. Now going back here, so this is in India. So you see the recommended width here is about 2 feet of gap. You're seeing this gap to be about 8 to 12 inches. So the robot design is complicated because of that, right? And your bed height is also variable actually. It's a bit difficult to see in this perspective. This is an indoor one, and some people have lost all their money simply because of investing in a poly house and not being able to recover because of very high interest rate loans, right? So now what are we doing about it? Leaving aside this, which is not the focus of the topic here, in order to enable the farmer, because you can grow this crop throughout the year, provided you do some, but it depends where you're growing, but you can, right? So enable the farmer to tide through the rainy season. We're doing this, so there are these various diseases. I wouldn't get into the details here, but thrift is one of them. It looks like dust, but the texture is different, okay? You have thrip on the flowers as well. Aphid, when they grow up, they look like this, okay? All the morphological features. Otherwise, aphids look like this one here, okay? This is young aphid out here, right? And exuvia, so aphids generally, unless it's cold and shady, they wouldn't come out on the top. They are on the lower side. So exuvia is like the snake molding its skin, right? So we are doing image processing and machine learning to detect these sort of things. This is another bit, NPK deficiency or powdery mildew. Well, powdery mildew looks like this, but this is beyond rescue. You can't do much about this. these are the early stages, but the way you distinguish is the farmer tells you, I didn't see cloudy weather for 3 days, so you can still see the leaf folded the way you see here. It means most likely it's a NPK deficiency. So your machine learning has to be complemented by knowledge system, right? Then we have calcium deficiency detecting on the edges here, and they might look like dust spots as well. Your mites here, they look very similar, except for the texture is quite different, okay? So building machine learning models, we have gathered, and there's no data set in the world on strawberries, which is labeled. So we are building this up, 750 images we have collected. We are labeling it in CVAT, and each of this image, we get 20 of them. All the leaves out here you see are one extract from this image. So from each image, we're getting about 30 to 40 images, depends upon what you have inside in there. So we're preparing the data set and running the models. So I will not speak about accuracy and all. We don't have time for that. And also, this is under development. We don't have sufficient data to meaningfully speak about accuracy right now. Okay, so we have classified ResNet 50, 25 million parameters, nearly 100 megabyte. Deep CNN we developed ourselves, and this is 6 MB. 6 MB meaning you can put it on a chip, which can go on the robot. So you don't have to have a huge bandwidth data transfer back to the base station, right? You won't be paying for server space, you won't be paying for machine learning on the server. It'll be all so-called free of cost in that way. So we had to build this up, and if people are interested, I'm happy to share the codes for these, right? So if it can help your research move it forward. Similarly, that's the other way. In many of the problems that we are addressing, we need to pass through, do the image processing multiple times. It's not a single time. So one of the things that we're doing for efficiency is background-foreground separation. There are other architectures which are good there. So you can see here, we don't want to be taking into account the mulch and all. So there are other architectures we're looking at to do this bit. And again, just as an example, we won't go into the architecture. One is a unit architecture. It's 16 MB, so it's still too big. And there's a compressed unit. It's about 10.3 MB. So we need to bring it down to about 2 MB or so, right? Then we can put it on chips which farmers can afford in this part of the world. So that's the idea here. And so again, we're happy to share the codes that we have built up here, so people can utilize that for their own work. I'll end the conversation here because my colleague is waiting for any quick question if you have for me. I'm happy to take. Okay, great, thanks.
Long live India and France friendship.